Welcome to another edition of Northern Heat this week. And this week, our special guest, Sandenn Killoran. Sandenn, we're in the midst of another kind of uprising of COVID. So we've decided today, because it'd make it a little bit more difficult of doing the interview face to face. And if we did the interview here at Thermalwood, Canada, we'd have to wear masks, and then that kind of muffles it up, and we lose some of the story, I find. So I figured that today would be a good day to do this virtually. So welcome.
Well, thanks, Robert. It's no problem. I think everybody right now needs to act with a little bit more overabundance of caution, is what I've heard in the news, and I think that's probably the best way going forward. And we can use technology like Zoom to stay in touch with one another and have these kinds of chats. Then all the power to it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, we're able to do this, and I think that that's a really good thing for us that they have this technology to be able to do it. So, talking about technology, talking about different ways of doing things, like I said, we're through COVID, there's been businesses that have been able to flourish. There's businesses that unfortunately closed down. There's businesses that are struggling. And here you are starting a new business in this time of flux and pandemic. And so tell us a little bit about what you're doing and why you're doing this.
Yeah, it seems a little bit counterintuitive to break out on your own and try to start a new business during the largest global pandemic and economic downturn in over a century. But I think it boils back. You and I know each other for a few years now. Since 2016, more or less, we've kind of been in regular contact, all kind of following the same through vein, which was we wanted to see economic development and prosperity come back to the region. And my role, I still do work with Contendo, and so very proud of everything that we've accomplished there. And I think the rise in online learning is going to show a lot of great things coming up for Contendo and that business coming forward. So, I still dabble a little bit and help out where I can there. But one of the things that Contendo facilitated me to do is that it led me across the country, especially the province, Atlantic Canada. And what I was seeing was different communities were taking approaches to economic development and diversification that were just completely absent up here. I would say in northern New Brunswick. So one of the things that was just always nagging in the back of my head, when I spent some time in Alberta, I started working at a place called Startup Edmonton. And it was one of the first startup communities in the country. And essentially, if you had an idea for a business, you could buy a membership there. You could rent a desk or a little office or whatever the case may be, and you'd get all the support from a lot of experts that are there. So you could get legal advice for relatively cheap, financial advice for relatively cheap, all subsidized basically by this organization. And their goal wasn't to get you to a point where they could, buy into your company and make money off you. It wasn't to get you to borrow money from them. They weren't looking for you to sign on to a loan. Their goal was to give you the best chance of starting your business and basically being able to create a job for not only yourself, but for other people, and really diversifying the economy in Alberta. And that's why you can kind of see in Edmonton and Calgary, they're dealing a little bit better with the drop in oil prices because they've had this focus on diversification for so long. So if you come back to the Maritimes, which I did in 2005, you have places like Planet Hatch in Fredericton, Venn Innovation in Moncton, Volta in Halifax. And, they essentially do the same thing. And then there was nothing here in the north that was doing it. We attempted to start up a community, kind of a loose community in Startup Chaleur, but there was no physical place or business that was doing those services. So my decision to break out and start my own company was that I wanted to be able to work with entrepreneurs or people who were really looking to start their own business, or even companies that were struggling to take that next step, and give them the benefit of whatever expertise I have, but insights and the hard work that I'm going to put it there. And then understanding that there was no side motive for me except that I wanted them to do well, because my entire business model revolves around them doing well. And I think, we can bring in new ideas and expose the area to new ideas, opportunities, ways of thinking, business concepts, and we'll be stronger because of it. So that's a really long-winded explanation, Robert, to say that, I wanted to give back to the region and help it redefine itself. And the pandemic came out and I said, well, it seems intuitively like a bad time to start it, but also isn't it the best time to start it? Because we're going to eventually have to come out of this. And why not come out of this with an eye to the future and diversification?
Well, you're absolutely right. In times of need, that's when people are ready to be able to look at things. It's whenever there's an emergency or a situation that happens or something that will have a major change. And this pandemic has had a major change all around the world. So it's an opportunity, I think, too, as you said, to be able to reflect, to look at your businesses, to see what you can do. And in some cases, you don't have a choice to diversify. You've got to look at other ways. And so one of the points that you brought up in there is bringing your expertise and bringing expertise of others to the table. You've got an event coming up next week that is going to do exactly that. And you're inviting the local business people to participate. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the opportunity. So next Wednesday on October 21st, we were going to have a hybrid event, which means we were going to do 45 people in the building at the Best Western that would get to, basically go through keynotes and workshops with some really great speakers from all over Atlantic Canada, people that I've been lucky enough to meet and can call friends and colleagues or peers. And we're going to cover topics like diversity and inclusion, green innovation, and branding and marketing in the world of COVID. Excuse me. And what ended up happening is we were steaming along. We were getting registrations starting to come in. We were contacting businesses, and it looked like it was going to go well. And then Zone 5 and Zone 1 had to go back into orange phase because we are now into the second wave of COVID. Yeah. So we definitely thought that responsibility-wise, I live in Beldoon, and just as an FYI, Beldoon has recently been moved to Zone 6. So just keep that in mind. Woohoo! And anyway, as a BHS graduate, I've always been in Zone. No, as a BHS alumnus, I've always been in Zone 6 in my mind. But anyway, we decided it would be a little bit, it would be much more responsible to actually just cancel out the in-person showing and have this one for free on Zoom for free registration. Anybody can join. We're also streaming it on Facebook Live, but I really encourage anybody that wants to talk to some branding experts like Mike Bardsley he's the vice president of Revolve. He's actually the guy who did the Tourism Chaleur branding. So all of that. And the big thing that I've asked him to come in and talk to the group about is not only did he do just a ton of market research on the region itself, but also how to market outside to neighboring regions as a location for people to visit to. But that means he has an understanding of, if you are a company that sells anything, how you sell just outside of the immediate area, and how do you sell within it. So he's going to come in and give a presentation on that. We have Jennifer Wagner, who's the president of Carbon Cure. So Carbon Cure is a company. They've been a finalist for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on clean energy innovation. They won the X Prize last year, which is just one of the biggest carbon reduction prizes in the world. And she's been named one of the top 20 female leaders in green tech for the nation, or for Canada. And she's going to come in and talk about all the opportunities that green energy is going to give us moving forward, and how companies with a forward-thinking momentum and can really wrap their mind around those opportunities can build and diversify local economies like ours. Because we're still kind of struggling to get over the loss of the smelter. There's been a reduction in work at the power plant, kind of as with the coal and a bunch of other factors going into it. So we really do need to figure out a way to support small businesses and help them grow and stabilize, and also give opportunities for bigger and future-proof investments. And I think green tech's a way to do that. And our hope is that this will go very well. We'll get some good feedback and participation. And then we're hoping to do this, if not quarterly, then semi-annually, and bring in different speakers throughout in an ongoing basis.
Well, through the beginning of COVID, there was a rash of different webinars that were set up and video conferencing and a whole bunch of other things. And then that seemed to die down. I know that I participated in a number of them, trying to, figure out what do we do. But we've been kind of out of that mode for a bit, and people have had a chance to get the economy going again and having a better understanding of what's happening. Now, by bringing some other people in and experts like you've got, and I think this is going to be great to give people some insight on other angles to be able to think about while their business is still running in the background, and allow them to do that. So my hat's off to you definitely for bringing these people in, for offering this to our business community in our region. And again, thank you very much, because if we're talking about Northern Heat, it's all about turning on the heat, and you're a fine example of being able to do that in our area. So thank you very much, Sandenn, for doing that. Thank you very much for bringing these people together. And I'm sure that all of this is going to help the business community move forward. So very much appreciated. So in closing, what do people do if they want to be able to tap into this and be part of it?
So right now we are taking registrations for the Zoom thing. You can find it on dockyard.ca, so dockyard.ca/events. There's buttons where you can click all over the place that'll bring you to a Zoom registration page. There's no cost. We eliminated the cost for it. And so you can just register like that. Then you'll have to start a Zoom call if you're not familiar with it. It walks you through. It's pretty simple. As long as you have an email, you can do it.
And what time is this again?
It's going to start from 8 till noon on October 21st.
Okay.
And sorry, that's probably a really good thing to mention. 8 till noon on October 21st. We'll have 3 speakers. And if you join via webinar via Zoom portal, we'll be able to make sure that your questions get asked of the speakers. We'll also be streaming it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/dockyardca. And we'll be live streaming it on there as well, so you can watch it. And then you'll be able to see the video afterwards if you want to recap it. But definitely an opportunity for people who are either running a business, thinking about running a business, or looking at their next steps on how they grow a business, or maybe something we haven't discussed is, there will be some drop-offs in employment, and how do people make the most of the opportunity. So this is one of those ways that we're hoping to inspire some people to look at the issues presented by COVID a little bit differently, and hopefully take some positive next steps in their career and for the region.
Well, if we dig deep enough, we can always find some positive things to see out there. And that's kind of in times of negative times, it's hard to see those, but here's another opportunity to be able to dig it out. So again, Sandenn, thank you very much, and for putting this on, and looking forward to it. And everybody out there, if you get a chance, share this post, get it out there so people can see. And now your numbers aren't limited anymore to 45, as many people as can get on the Zoom call, right?
That's right.
So more people get a chance of doing that. Thank you very much. And there we are.
All right.
Another edition of Northern Heat for this week.